Welcome to GLab tutorial. Today we are discussing about setting up Jenkins master and slave. So first let us understand what are the roles for Jenkins master. Your main Jenkins server is the master machine. So this will perform the regular job builds, schedule builds, dispatching builds to the slaves for the execution, monitor the slaves, recording and presenting the builds results. Can also execute builds job directly. So first we understand what does slave do. Slave is a Java executable that runs on a remote machine. The characteristics of the slave are it hears the request from the Jenkins master instance. Slaves can run on a variety of operating systems. It can be Windows, Linux, or any other distributed Linux platform. The job of the slave is to do they are told to, which involves executing builds dispatched by the master. So here, if we have any jobs to be run on a master, so over a period of time, when the jobs in a master are occupied more, so to reduce the load on the master, we are setting up a slave to ensure these particular executables will take the help of the slave to execute the jobs in that particular scenario. So this can configure to the project always on a particular slave mission. Simply let Jenkins picks the next available slave. There are multiple options. So this master can get freed up by executing the build jobs to a slave machine. So this is about Jenkins master and slave. So let us see the uh, possible diagram which represents Jenkins master and Jenkins agents. So this is how the Jenkins master connects to this agent and it triggers a build from the Jenkins master, and Jenkins master will ask the slave to build and execute the jobs for master, and ultimately it's an agent. The actual configuration, everything will be in the master. So now let's understand how to configure Jenkins master and Jenkins agents or slaves. So I have just logged to my AWS console, and this is my so now I have taken the Jenkins public's IP. So I am entering the password. Yeah, meanwhile, yeah, so now let me launch a slave agent or Jenkins slave, which we are going to configure. So these are the basic settings which we are doing. So now this is the new instance which is called Jenkins slave. Let it initialize. Meanwhile, the initializing process takes, we will log into the Jenkins master server by using the credentials. So I am using Git Bash. We can use Putty and Sigwin and other tools, whichever is. So my SSH -i test.pem is my key, and ec2 hyphen user at the rate and my IP address. So now I am able to log in to my Jenkins master server. Let me do a root. So here we need to see whether the keys are already there or not. So if you see here, we have already the keys which are used to communicate. I have generated. If you feel it's an empty, you can generate using. Let me show you. So now this folder is empty. I am generating a key pair. This is h-keygen. And the key enter file which you want to save. So this is the default path. I'm using the same default path. I'm not giving any passphrase, and the same passphrase I'm just hitting enter. So now if you see, you can see my public and my private keys are generated. So let me cat pub and keep a note of this key in any of the notepad. So let me see what is happening with the slave node. Still it is initializing. Okay, now for some reason slave is not initializing, so I am just taking slave 1. So this is the public IP. Or let me just do a git bash. Exit. This is the second slave server. Sudo space -I, and now I am in the second slave node. So now I will go to cd.ssh authorized keys. So authorized keys is yes. So now I am trying to add my public key here so that I can both way add as a node as a do an SSH. I escape O, and we have already copied paste it and save it. So now let me exit from the slave 1 and log into the Jenkins master. So sudo to -I and cd dot now let me do SSH. So now I should be able to log in to that server. See the difference. This is this master and this is my slave. This is my master, from master to slave, to 0 file, to 0 file, to 0 file. So now the connection is established with one more SSH. So let's now add node in Jenkins. Go to manage Jenkins. So here you can see manage nodes. New node, give a node in slave and keep as a permanent agent. Okay, so you can copy from the existing node as well as. So you can mention any of the remote root directory where it should execute the jobs. First, suppose I can give anything /temp or /var anything, and you can give the label for this node so that you can use the same label in your job so that your job will perform the activity by taking the help of the slave. So let me label it as any of frog. I named it as my label and launch agent via SSH. This is how the SSH secure shell connection happened. So now I need to mention the host. So you can take the host address as the public IP. And now credentials. Here we need to enter username, SSH username with private key. So here the root is our username and enter directly with private key. So where we will get the private key, we'll go to git bash and this is the Jenkins master cd.ssh ls cat id underscore rsa. This is my private key. So now just enter here. There is no passphrase as we have not given any passphrase. So just add it. So now you can get root here. Keep this agent as much as possible. The settings can be changed and you saved. So now our Jenkins slave. This is the other slave. I am removing it. So this Jenkins slave is in offline. So we need to ensure a prerequisite in the slave. It should have a Java installed, any version. So let me just do SSH to this particular server. Yeah, I am in the slave and just installing Java. It picks the latest version. So now Java seems. So now the Java is installed in our slave. So now let's try launching this node. Launch agent. So seems our agent is online. So how we will use this agent for our job? So let us create any sample job. Test job, any freestyle, and then click. So whatever the build in this job needs to go to and work on this any of the slave mission, we can mention in our job. So you remember, right? We have given our label as frog. So for this, to add the label, we see there is no build trigger. Let's go back. Let's save this test job and go to the Jenkins, manage Jenkins and plugins available. We'll try to install Office 365 connector. This sends, this is a plugin, sends job status notification in Teams and Outlook. There you can see that. So I am just installing the plugin without any restart. So it's pending. So fine, now it's installed. So let us go to our test job and go to configure and see. Now we should have Office 365, and now we can restrict where the project can run with the label expression FORG frog. So automatically there is no agent cloud that matches this assignment. So let us see what is that name, correct name. See, so let us verify what is the label expression which we have given for our node. So this is our node, right? So go to configure and see our label is frog. So let me go to the leave this and go to the test job and go to the configure and give a label expression frog. So here you can see label frog is serviced by one node. So this is where it is there. So let us simply run this build. So our this particular build will build in the slave node, not in. So here you can see where it is building here the idle. So the test job has been completed, and this test job, if you see a console.output, it is nothing inside that. There is nothing, just building remotely on Jenkins slave in this particular workspace. So let us test by going to configure, create just build environment, and I will just try one small command, which is host name. So now this host name should be below, should be the host name of our slave. Let us verify. See, this is slave and this is host name. So now we are running in the Jenkins master, and our jobs are executing in the slave, and there is no burden for the Jenkins master. So we can define multiple Jenkins nodes, n number of multiple Jenkins slaves, and we can give a label expression. If it is dev related builds, it will be built in dev, and if it is prod, it will be in prod label. You can define your own label. So this is how the useful of Jenkins slave and master. Thanks for watching this video.